So to start us off, we are going to welcome Melissa Davis, who is the Director of Customer Service for Propertybase Back Office. Propertybase is here to present. Hey, Melissa, how are you? All right, Propertybase is here to present Propertybase Back Office, formerly known as Back Agent. Back Office combines real estate transaction management, compliance, and brokerage intranet into a single platform for streamlined productivity. The software is designed to empower brokerages to go paperless, digitalize an agent's processes, improve collaboration for everyone involved, and finally, reduce brokerage liability. Welcome, Melissa.
Hey, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
All right. Of course.
Okay, so we're going to dive right in here. I know we have a pretty tight timeline, so I want to jump right into product and not spend too much time on slides or anything like that. So I'm going to go ahead and stop my video just so we have solid bandwidth and get my screen shared out with you guys. All right. Awesome. Okay, so everyone should be viewing my screen now, and I'm going to just go right ahead and jump right into product. But before I do that, I do want to take just a quick minute or so and kind of give you the background on really what Propertybase Back Office is. So it's really kind of three platforms in one. Today, we're obviously focusing on the transaction management aspect of that, which can really mean a lot of things to a lot of different people in the industry. However, what really kind of sets Propertybase Back Office apart from maybe other systems that you've seen is we really are kind of more than just that transaction management piece. We've got this comprehensive intranet that really does help support and facilitate the engagement of agents in the platform. It creates that community vibe, that peer-to-peer content and ability to communicate and kind of work within the office via physical locations or remotely, how most of us are nowadays due to COVID and the state of the world here. So having that intranet kind of wrapped around that compliance-driven transaction management piece really does give it that added benefit of just kind of usability and multiple reasons, or what we like to call daily destinations, to kind of be in the system, even if we don't have a lot of active transaction business happening, which is a great way, of course, to retain those high producing agents and recruit high producing agents. One of the things that for the last 10 years or so that I've been doing this, that brokers kind of tell me over and over is, I get that it's a brokerage platform and that's great and we're excited to use it, but what are the agent tools? I've got to be providing my agent that really strong tools in the real estate industry. And so we think that we've done a really good job with that. So now that I've kind of set the stage for that, I kind of want to jump into product and just start showing you some of the features. So what you're looking at here is what we call the start page, or the dashboard of the Propertybase Back Office system, the intranet, if you will. So this dashboard is designed to be social in nature, so that when you log in, you have this ability to check out the latest video that the brokerage has posted, get in and communicate peer-to-peer, see what the admin or staff are posting about, talk about open houses, vendor recommendations. So we give you lots of ways to kind of engage socially on that start page, and all within a custom branded environment. So everywhere you're seeing kind of the Propertybase branding, imagine this with your logo, your look and feel, your team photos, events happening in your brokerage. It really does create that sense of community. So outside of the start page, I'll pop us into Connect here. And Connect is really where all of the office kind of intranet aspects of the system live. So, it's built to scale, of course. So when you have multiple locations, you have the ability to really build out that tree. So information can flow up and can kind of come down from the top level as well. But then it gives you the ability to really create that kind of hyper-local fit. You have the concept of shared documents, conference room scheduling, so agents can pop in and reserve spaces in your conference rooms, floor time, desk duty. There's tasking in the system. fun little pop-down notices. And then of course, the idea behind this shared calendar view. So not only can an agent see their own due diligence events here and transaction related events, but they can also see events shared out by the office. You know, what's going on in the community? What are the local events? Are we having a training? Is there an office meeting? Once again, lots of reasons to be engaged kind of in that branded portal, that branded environment. Now, we'll jump into a transaction in just a moment, but I want you to take notice of kind of all of these transaction related events on my calendar. One of the really nice things about Back Office is that the agent's not having to come here and kind of manually enter events. That all happens organically as they're creating transactions and walking through that compliance workflow in the Back Office system. So we're effectively building that calendar for them. And then of course they can sync all these important due diligence dates out to their Outlook, their Google, iCloud, whatever calendar source you check a little more frequently or mobily. And then of course, there are tons of management dashboards we won't get to show today on the back end where managers or admin can really get in and kind of follow along when they need to and be aware of all of those important upcoming events in the transaction lifecycle. There's also a Learn tab where we can pull everything kind of training related into one hub or one system. Agents can see who local trainers are. They can access video training, see upcoming classes, register for them. We also have a full library of back office training here as well. So it's really great as you're onboarding new agents, they can pop right in, kind of acclimate and almost self-teach themselves how to get in and use the system. And then lastly, before we jump into transactions, I wanted to point out our promote section. So this is almost kind of that third aspect of Back Office, where we have an entire print marketing solution as well as vendor marketplace. So we have the ability to not only bring in custom designs that you've created for flyers and brochures and business cards, property cards, but we also have design templates available that we update pretty regularly, as well as the ability for you as a broker to get in and really showcase all of your affiliated business arrangements and local relationships. So it's a great way to encourage the agents on where they should maybe go to get the best virtual tour or you know, the best home warranty company. So you've got lots and lots of options here. I'm only showing a few on the page, but when you get into kind of manage this section, you'll see that there are tons of additional categories for you to build out. Once again, facilitating ease of use for the agent, creating those tools that agents need to be successful and not have to have a million different systems at one time. All right. So I'm going to pop us over into the transaction tab, which is really the core of the system and what everything was really built around. All right, so this is kind of the transaction dashboard. And the idea here is that when an agent is logged in, they'll be able to see a quick kind of breakdown of their production, their transactions, maybe any files that they've emailed in or received into the system or even faxed in the case of foreclosures and bank deals. They can also see any upcoming task related to those transactions, check on their listings. And then as a manager, your dashboard will look a little bit different because you're going to come here and see all of the upcoming files that need your attention and review. We do everything kind of in this unique workflow or pathway where we actually guide the agent through a path. We kind of call it the path of compliance, if you will, really setting the stage for what type of documents I'm going to need, what type of checklist. So what type of file is this? Now, instead of walking through a full transaction for time purposes, I'm just going to jump into a live one here. And we'll pop right into, let's grab Riverbend here. And let's talk about this transaction. So when we get into the transaction, we walk the agent kind of down this path, if you will. So this timeline bar that you see on the screen, the start showing contract, pre-closing, post-closing, really should be indicative of the phase that I'm actually in with my agent. And as the agent moves through those phases, we're guiding them to information that's needed. What are some details about this property? Maybe who are the contacts on the file? We can auto-load team members and coordinators. What documents are we going to be needing? What checklist items are going to be important? They can even track expenses, and then notes and history is going to give you that complete virtual log with date and timestamp of everything that's done on this file start to finish. Now we have tons of integrations here, everything from forms and e-signature to commissions and accounting platforms. And then we even have the ability in back office as well to manage your commissions and actually create disbursements for you if you're closing and funding at a closing table. And of course, we've got a really great integration in-house with our Propertybase websites and CRM. So Propertybase Go web and CRM, as well as our Salesforce edition. So from within those platforms, you can nurture your leads, work your leads, and then actually launch directly from a contact, from a listing record, really multiple places, straight into the transaction, completely removing the need for dual entry and really sharing and kind of marrying that original kind of contact record with the actual transaction itself, which gives you the ability to have some really great kind of full circle reporting there as well. All right, so I'm going to jump us back over to our start page. And as I do that, I do want to point out one more feature before we jump in to kind of the Q&A portion of this. And that's to talk about our roundtable. So we've talked about peer-to-peer communication in the intranet. We've talked about that peer to broker or admin communication as far as file review and managing transactions. But I'd be remiss to not mention the fact that we also have a client to vendor or client to agent portal as well, which gives you the ability to communicate externally here. And so this is our roundtable, and roundtable can be a really great way for an agent to get in and share the transaction experience with their client. This is actually one of my favorite features. I used this myself about 8 years ago when I bought my house. And about 3 years ago, when I decided to put a poll in, I was able to pop in, download my survey, all the important documents I needed, because my agent at the time had shared that out with me through the roundtable process. I've got that for life as a client. So I'm in that branded environment, reminded of my agent, reminded of the value that they had and brought to the transaction process. And then that also sends some really fun notifications to the agent as well, so that they're aware of that continued activity in the portal and hopefully can facilitate those return relationships. All right, so I'm going to jump in. I think we've got some Q&A here, and I'll pop back in and share my video. All right.
Awesome, Melissa. While you're doing that, we'll
sure.
go ahead and jump into the first question, which is from the audience. You had mentioned a library of information for agents to learn from. How is that product onboarded, and how quickly can agents get up and running into that specific product?
So the Learn section is actually part of the intranet. So that's tied into the full offering of the back office system. So really everything that you guys saw today is one feature. It's one product. We tie it all together. It really supports each other. And really it's as simple as we host through Vimeo and YouTube and things like that. So it's part of the regular onboarding for us to get in and help you, hook up those connections and provide that library right there within your intranet system for the agents.
Awesome. Another question is, if someone only wants the transaction management portion of what you've presented today, is that something that's available, or is this only available as a full product suite?
Yeah, great question. So technically, yes, we can kind of carve a few of the sections. Typically, it's more around the intranet for larger organizations. We've got a few, and when I say a few out of thousands of clients, literally a handful that only use that transaction piece. And that's really because the calendar system and so many other pieces tie together that are part of the intranet, that really what you end up with is kind of a little bit of a shell of some of the features. And 9 times out of 10 at the price point, it just makes sense to roll the whole thing out. So that's generally how that goes.
That's great. So probably time for just one more question.
Sure.
So does Propertybase Back Office have forms and e-signatures enabled, or is that something that you can integrate with an existing platform? Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it's a little bit of both. So we do have an e-signature feature that's rolling out. and tied into a much larger concept of forms creation in the system. So lots of fun things kind of on the horizon that we're really excited about over the next couple months, but we do have tons of integrations as well. So the idea is that you don't have to break kind of what you're already used to using as far as forms creation. For the most part, we should be able to work around those and integrate, and there's tons of ways to get documents into the system. But yeah, definitely a little bit of both, and some fun stuff kind of on the up and coming there.
Awesome. Well, really appreciate it, Melissa. It was great to learn about Propertybase Back Office. And we are going to go ahead and launch a poll for all of our audience members. If you would like to learn more and have Propertybase contact you, please go ahead and interact with the poll now.
Great. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.